Hello, everyone. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of the Manly Hanley Podcast. This is the podcast with no limits on what we'll cover, unless it's something totally psychotic or not worth covering. I'm your host, Randy, and with me I have my co-host for today, Vic the Cat. So have a snack, sit back, and relax. This episode was recorded on Sunday, March 17th, 2019. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Episode title is Introduction. Let's get started. So let's talk about why I'm doing this podcast first. In this podcast episode, I'm going to cover what it's about, as well as a little information about myself. So why I'm doing this, I actually did a podcast about 8 years ago when Android was fairly new. And I think I did the easy and free way of promoting it, which was just to put a still frame and post it on YouTube. But it didn't go anywhere. I didn't really play around with it or try to promote it much at all, and I just kind of gave up on it and continued to do the traditional blog article writing. So that's been fun. That still works out. It's good experience, but a podcast is a little more open discussion and allows for me to have some guests, and it's kind of cool. So a lot of people are doing it, and I want to get back into it again. So there's something I learned from that failed episode that I never really did anything with, and it's kind of like business 101. I can really cover anything. It doesn't have to just be mobile phones or even technology. I could go outside of that scope and cover anything. So I figure there's a lot of opportunities out there where I can interview a person that's better at something than myself. For instance, I read something that I'm interested in learning about, and I can easily find an expert in that given field, ask them questions, and have them explain things to me, and the viewers who may also be interested in that topic. So I'm aiming to focus on a wide range of topics and professions. For instance, I'll interview an exceptional musician, a professional musician. When I say professional musician, I loosely refer to a musician as someone that supports themselves by playing music. I'll have them talk about what it's like to support themselves with their art, and I'll have them explain information on their current work and where we can find it and so on. So anyway, this is just my intro episode to inform you on the direction of the Manly Hanley Podcast. I'd like to thank our audience and our guest, Vic, my cat, for putting time aside for this podcast. In our next episode, we are going to feature an amazing professional who just happens to be my fiance. We will touch on side hustle ideas for extra income and how we made a few extra bucks in the last year. Follow our podcast. If you're a new listener, we'd love to hear from you. You can follow this podcast by visiting randyhanley.com/podcast and look for me on Twitter. It's just Randrums. That's RANDRUMS. Thanks a lot for listening, everyone. Have a great day.